Greetings everyone, Melderon here. It's been a long time since I've made content, and I'd like to explain why that is today. I've decided to stop making content for WoW Classic, and stop making YouTube content pretty much altogether for the foreseeable future. This decision is not just because of what happened recently in the news with Blizzard and sexual harassment allegations and the unequal treatment of women. No, this has been happening for a while. And that has a part of why I made this decision, but it's not the only reason why. I am not quitting playing WoW Classic. I just want to put this out there really quickly before I get into my long reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing, but I will be quitting making content. So I like to explain why. I like to start by talking about this channel, how we started, and some of the achievements we made along the way. I started this channel in 2016 after the NOS shut down because I was very angry about what happened. I played private servers during NOS, even a little bit before NOS, and I stopped playing retail during that, probably Pandaria Wrath of the Lich King transition phase there. And I started playing more and more private servers. And I started watching people like Dodgy Kebab, Hamster Wheel, Orkbit, Alex Sensual, and I really wanted to try that and be a content creator. Because to me, this was a really interesting time, right? Private servers were kind of like almost seen as like, bad or illegal in a way. And these guys were like kind of cool pirates that were, doing something against Blizzard. Even then was very disenfranchised with Blizzard because I didn't like where the game was going. So I decided to make content too. And initially those were just kind of little community pieces, talking about the game, doing some leveling, some very, very bare bones guides. And I, discovered Shaman then too. So I started playing Shaman in WoD. So I kind of was interested in how they would feel in Vanilla Classic, and they were very, very different. And I fell in love with the class and wanted to learn as much as I could about them. So I started making my rudimentary Shaman guides and getting so engrossed in the game and in Classic Azeroth and this world that I missed so much. And what was going on in real life in that time was I was towards the tail end of my PhD. If you guys don't know, I'm a research scientist. I work at a hospital, and I have a PhD in genetics. And any free time I had during that time, I was putting towards making content. So as time went on, my content got better and better. I got my brother involved, Defcamp, in the channel as well. We started doing podcasts, talking to other content creators, building up our repertoire of videos, if you will, getting to know people. And slowly but steadily, our subscriber numbers went up. Our view counts went up from hundreds of views to maybe a couple thousand. And that was really cool. And towards the tail end of my PhD, I had decided that I was going to move to a different country, Germany, and get a job there. I actually had a job lined up. I was with a woman that I thought I was going to marry, and everything seemed to be going great. And at this time, the channel was getting bigger and bigger as well, getting to learn new things and meet new people. And things seemed great. Unfortunately for me, I didn't know that my life was going to get kind of turned upside down as the relationship I was in fell apart, kind of randomly and surprisingly. So instead of moving to Germany and starting a job I was supposed to be starting at, I moved back to Philadelphia from Kansas, where I did my PhD, and had to move back in with my parents for a while, which is not what you want to do at 36 years old. So what was there for me? I'm sure all you are going to answer this question now. Warcraft, content creation, and I just put everything I could into it. And if you remember, before Classic WoW came out, I put out a shit ton of content, upgraded my stuff that I had, and just put so much into this because I had nothing else to put my energy into. I was in between jobs. I had to find another job. It was really scary for me. So WoW was there, content creation was there, and Classic WoW was coming out. That was the best part about it. I remember sitting when I first found out that Classic WoW was officially coming out, I was sitting in a berry farm in the middle of Kansas collecting field specimens of fruit flies. And I immediately called Defcamp and lost my mind. And ever since that, I was just emboldened to make content. Because this is what I fought for years, making content in 2016 until 2018, was just promoting the game, promoting Classic WoW. And that time, even though I was out of work, really just was great for me. I got to meet new people, like the Classic WoW Live team, the website we built, Cargos, Navic, Egregious, Ale. We built a website together where our plan was to compete with Wowhead. Didn't really work out, but we tried. We made content together. I met other content creators. Got really close with people that I've only dreamed of, that I would ever meet and talk to. People like Mad Season, Platinum WoW, Willie, Josh from Countdown the Classic. All these people that I only listened to. I remember running in the gym listening to Josh's podcast when it first came out, thinking to myself, I would love to talk to this guy. I'd love to be on the show one day. Cargos was instrumental in building our channel. So was people like Asmongold, watching our videos. Even Alex Sensual. Laugh all you want, but he was one of the first people to watch our videos on his stream. Hamster Wheel, Orkbit, S-Fan, Tips Out, people that we talked to when we were, getting bigger. Eventually, we got to get press passes for BlizzCon. We got to meet developers. We got to meet Omar Gonzalez, have a drink with him, talk about the game with him, talk about beta, talk about things we could change, make the community better. Before TBC came out, I got in contact with more developers. And we talked about how to make the game better, what needs to be fixed in the beta, what's broken, what is still unsure of. I was part of, if you will, quality assurance. Even though we told them, and it wasn't like a job it wasn't a job per se, it was just a position that I found myself in to help the community. And we told them when we were vehemently opposed certain things, like the cash shop, like world buffs. I told them from day one I didn't want world buffs in the game. And whether something worked out or it didn't, the fact that I was able to meet these people, talk to them, have an impact in the game in some way. The game I love so much, I've been playing since Vanilla, the end of Vanilla. And I know you all know what I'm talking about. If this game's really special to you, I know you realize how impactful these things are. And the channel itself, we've achieved a lot. 30-some-odd thousand subscribers ain't too shabby for a classic WoW-only channel. Having people like Asmongold watch your videos ain't too shabby. Meeting developers. Having a podcast like Good Morning Azeroth with people like Cargos, Dunedain, ain't too shabby. I also want to say, as far as achievements go, it's been an honor talking to past developers like John Statz and Kevin Jordan about the game. If you told me that I'd be able to interview these people, I'd laugh. There's no way that I think that would ever happen when I created this channel. So thank you both, John and Kevin, for being amazing. And thank you for giving me insights into how MMOs should be and how even us as players can screw things up. I've achieved a lot, and I've learned a lot about myself, about content creation, real skills, art skills that I can use in my publications in science, practicing my science in the esoteric, if you will, shaman guides that I've made over the years, 3-hour-long shaman guides, built the classic shaman Discord with egregious 40,000 people. Community building is probably the most important thing I've enjoyed through this whole process, and the biggest contribution I've had. I've achieved a lot. It really means a lot to me when people reach out to me in-game and say, thank you for making your videos. You've helped me play a shaman better. Thank you for making your podcasts. Whatever. People still reach out to me in-game to this day, whisper me and thank me. And that's huge. But something happened. The reason I'm stopped making content. Like I said, WoW content creation and World of Warcraft was there for me when I needed it most. When the pandemic hit, that was a huge blow for me, because I was getting back into work at the time. I had found a job about a month or two before Classic WoW launched, and was really getting into it. And as you know, the pandemic hit in 2020. I was out of work for 15 months, working from home, but out of work, physically. For someone like me, structure is very important, and I didn't do well in that environment. Waking up every day, going to my computer, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to make content or really work. I was just kind of in this funk for 15 months, which sucked because I just got back out of a kind of a valley after my breakup by getting a new job and getting myself back out there again. And then the pandemic brought me right back down. And that was really hard for me. Content was usually my go-to in situations like this, but I just felt kind of disenfranchised with everything. But I still soldiered on. I still made some videos. Not as much as I want to, but I made videos. I made videos leading up to TBC, more shaman guides, a general class guide, which did perform very well, and people really, really enjoyed. And if it wasn't for the Classic Shaman Discord, that stuff wouldn't be possible, by the way. It was very, very a group effort. But recently, I went back to work because Philadelphia released the ban on, if you will, on wearing masks indoors and stuff like that, and my employer decided that it was an okay time for us to go back to work. That really significantly changed things for me. Everything has been improving in my life since then. I feel better about myself, I feel better about everything. But most importantly, I feel better about my career and how much I love science and how much I really missed it not being in the lab. Now, I don't work with lab materials or animals anymore. I do everything on computer. I should have been that happy at home, right? But I didn't feel that way. I needed to get back into physical work again to realize that I want to put my energy towards my job. And that's the real reason I'm stopping content, is because I want to put as much energy as I can into my job. And when I come home, if I'm going to play WoW, I want to play it as a player and not a content creator. I want to continue to lead my guild into new content, continue to do arena, which I really, really enjoy, I didn't think I would. And I want to be a player again. Now, will that burn bridges for me? Will that mean I won't be invited to be a beta tester or give my 2 cents into what I think needs to be done to the game? Possibly. But that's okay. I've done that already. I've done the best I could. And if I'm not invited to do that again for Wrath of the Lich King, if that's a thing, that's fine. I built the Shaman Discord with the Egregious and the other people in there. That was an achievement as well. I've done a lot. But it's time for me to kind of ride into the sunset and just be a player again. And like I said, I won't be quitting Classic WoW. And because of what happened recently, if you want to vote with your wallet and that's your way of kind of making a difference, more power to you, and that's great. That's your prerogative to do that. For me, this is my way of doing that. And like I said, I'm doing this more for selfish reasons, but what happened recently in the news made me make this decision quicker. Because there is a part of me that doesn't want to really advertise for a company like Blizzard anymore. Because that's really what content creation is you're helping advertise the game. You are making money, of course, but very small sums of money in my case, but it's something, right? You are helping that IP and that business. I want to transition to talk about Blizzard. Blizzard can't do anything right now. They really can't. Everything they do, every step they make forward, they're making feels like they're making 10 steps back. I don't play retail. I don't really know enough about retail to talk about it, but retail seems like it's in a really bad state. Even WoW Classic population numbers have dropped. The addition with the cash shop and the mount and the Hearthstone and the level boost in Classic WoW was a horrible decision. I think it hurt them more than it helped them, even that little burst of money they probably made in the beginning. People feel disenfranchised with WoW. And, what happened recently with the discrimination and sexual harassment, terrible, horrible stuff that shouldn't happen nowadays. Feels like they were also complicit in a way with letting Alex Afrasiabi go 2 years ago, probably around the same time this investigation started. I don't think that's a coincidence. That doesn't look good either. Their response doesn't look good. Nothing looks good right now. So I understand when people say they stop playing or they're quitting making content because of those reasons. I really, really do. And it's a part of the reason why I'm stopping to make content. Not entirely, though. But I do want to say the reason I'm going to continue playing the game is because, number one, I enjoy it, and I think TBC is an excellent game. 2 is because there are people there that do care and do give a shit. I know that because I've talked to them. One person told me, a Blizzard employee, that they want to make Blizzard how the company was when they were a kid growing up. They want to make the company the best place they can. They want to reinvigorate and bring that magic back. The people I worked with during the TBC Classic beta are passionate and want what's best for the community in the game. These upper level decisions with level boost and this and that and money this and money that, those aren't their decisions. I believe in them and I think they're amazing people. So I will continue my subscription because of that reason and because I really enjoy Classic WoW. I've always have. That's where I'm at with Blizzard. So Blizzard is you can look at it as a whole and say Blizzard is a terrible thing. It's a horrible company. They don't deserve any of our time or effort. But then there are people there that do. So don't forget those people and be careful how you put your negative energy towards Blizzard because you could hurt someone who doesn't deserve it and puts in their 100% every day and makes the game enjoyable and listens to us as a community. So long story short, I don't think Blizzard will ever get to where it was. But I do believe in some of the people there. And I think Asmongold said this, that it may be too late for WoW retail, but it's not too late for Blizzard to have a cultural kind of renaissance and internal renaissance. This may be the pain that that Blizzard has to go through in order to become better one day. I don't know if that's true, but I think it's a good take, and I think that would be amazing to see. Now I want to talk about WoW Classic. My passion, what made me start this channel. Vanilla WoW was a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed it. World buffs sucked. That was the worst part of WoW Classic. I kind of wish they weren't in the game, but I understand why they left them in. And there are some benefits as to leaving them in. Competition is one of them. One thing I've noticed is devoid from TBC Classic is no one gives a shit about world firsts. No one watches the races. That could be because it's 25-man raids opposed to 40, but I think it's the danger that world buffs provided. It's that you have to keep them to win. If one person dies, now your time is off, things like that. So I think world buffs brought a lot of interesting kind of meta interest into the game. But I think that WoW Classic itself, like if they do fresh Classic realms, they should consider taking world buffs out. I think it would be interesting without them, Yeah, things would be harder, especially Naxxramas, but it would be more of a prestigious thing to do to get Naxxramas down without world buffs. One other thing I think they need to get rid of if they're going to do Classic Realms is somehow remove mage boosting. It kind of breaks the developer-player contract if you circumvent the game. Leveling is a really important part of vanilla WoW, and just blowing your way through it, I think is a terrible thing. So I do think that world buffs and somehow removing mage boosting from the game, it's pretty easy to do. If the level difference between a player, say like someone's level 60 and the people in there are level 20, 25, there should be any XP. There's a formula that determines if the level difference is X, then Y, and Y would be no experience, right? I do think that you can also fix the honor PvP system in some way to make it a little bit more accessible to more people. But those are the things that I think would improve WoW Classic or Vanilla WoW if they're going to do Fresh Realms. And I do think they should do Fresh Realms because even I'm getting excited again for Vanilla Classic, and I just stopped playing it. TBC Classic I think is amazing, and a lot of people don't like TBC Classic. I think it's not people aren't as enthralled with it as I am. But I have to say, once you get past that initial hump of experiencing the content, getting your revered reputations, getting the gear you need, it's kind of relaxing, especially for someone like me who's back in work full time. Come home, raid, do my dailies, do some arena. What else is there to do for the whole week? Maybe level some alts if you want to. It feels great being able to play my main character whenever I want, do arena with him whenever I want, do dailies, farm gold. I love TBC Classic, and to me, TBC is the best iteration of the best MMO ever made. And I think people just need to focus more on that and realize that the game is beautifully done. There's going to be new content coming out probably in about a month, and that's gonna be great. So I think TBC Classic is a lot better than people think. I think that unfortunately, Classic WoW has been kind of rolled into a lot of the issues that are happening in retail right now. And I think that they're very, very different games, and I think you can enjoy Classic TBC and not be in any way attached to what's happening in retail. At least that's what I do, because I don't play retail. But I do understand that maybe it's a little bit less epic. The development team back then wanted to be more efficient and remove certain things from the game, certain hard things, but also in that way you remove the balance, right? It's like Classic WoW, yeah, 40-man raids sucked, but they were epic. Yeah, world buffs sucked, but they gave you an incentive to really try hard to survive. Yeah, leveling from 1 to 60 sucks, but you'll never get that vastness of the world that you had in Classic WoW. So I understand why people are more attached to vanilla. I do. And I think people are starting to realize that more than they thought they did, how much they were attached to vanilla WoW. But I do think TBC on paper is a better game in every possible way. I see TBC as kind of like the Porsche 911, but vanilla is kind of like that old SS Camaro or that old Chevy Corvette. It still has that kind of prestige to it. It's still beautiful in a way. On paper, it's not going to beat the Porsche 911. It doesn't have the amenities of the Porsche 911, but it's still a cool car. It's still something you want to drive. That's how I look at TBC versus Classic Vanilla. Now, briefly, I want to talk about Wrath of the Lich King before I say goodbye. I think Wrath of the Lich King has a problem. And the problem is that when that game first comes out, it's going to be a joke. Naxxramas is a complete joke. It's too easy. We've all seen it already. Most of the player bases beat it. There's guides for it. And it's an easier version of Nax and Vanilla. I don't know if it's going to have the pickup or motivation that TBC Classic or Vanilla Classic did. So just a suggestion to the Classic WoW devs, maybe bring heroic modes early on, starting with Naxxramas. Heroic Naxxramas, Heroic Ulduar. It might help kind of stave off a stagnation that may arise with Tier 7. And additionally, I think that LFD, I don't think you need it anymore, LFG. I think that there's enough intra-server community and people buzzing around and talking that you really don't need that anymore. I think if it's still in the game, it's whatever. I don't think anyone's going to care, because that's when it did come out. But I would seriously consider removing it from the game, as we can see how detrimental it can be to the community in WoW. All in all, guys, I think WoW Classic will be around forever, in some form or another. And in that way, I've achieved my goal as a content creator. It's all I ever wanted. I wanted this version of the game to be available forever, for everyone. And yeah, some things might change. Fresh Classic Realms may have world buffs removed, or, TBC Classic may be a little bit different than we thought it would be, with these character boosts and ugly mouths running around. But, WoW Classic's here, and it's here to stay. And you made that possible. And I'd like to think I had a significant contribution into that. Or some contribution. Maybe even not significant. Who cares? I had a contribution into that. And that was my goal, and that's why I started making content, and I feel like that goal's over. It's now time for me to move on, worry about my future and myself, Defcamp's not going anywhere. He'll still be making content. He'll still be streaming, but he's going to branch out and broaden his horizons into other games. I think he's a great streamer, and I think if he moves away from just WoW, he'll do really well. Also, be on the lookout for a video by him soon on his feelings as well. Also, the channel is not going to go anywhere. Neither are the videos. I want a constant reminder of what I've achieved, people I've met along the way, and just one continuity of what I've done. So they won't go anywhere, don't worry about that, and they'll always be available to watch if you'd like to, because I'll be watching them too. It's been a wild ride. I want to thank each and every one of you for making this dream possible and making it a dream come true. I did what I set out to do, and more. All I wanted to do was have Classic WoW come out, but I got to meet amazing people. I got to meet content creators. I got to meet Blizzard employees. I got to talk to people like you. It was a fun ride, and I'm not saying it's 100% over forever, but for now it is. So thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you so much for watching my videos. And thanks for playing the game I love. Keep on keep on and grinding, everyone.